It is cabbage season. We're getting tons of really pretty heads of cabbage from our CSA. So today I'm going to show you how to turn a head of cabbage into cheesy cabbage casserole. I know it sounds strange, but it's really good. If you like funeral potatoes or cheesy potato casserole, it's very much like that, except for with cabbage instead of potatoes. You could probably almost pass it off. So I've got half of a head of cabbage in my 9x13 pan already. It's cut relatively fine. I've got an onion here. I'm going to put that in the middle. Just kind of spread it throughout. I'm curious what your favorite ways to cook cabbage are. I'm always looking for new ideas. The boys in my house aren't the biggest fans, so this is a good way to get me to have them help eat the cabbage. Otherwise, I'm stuck eating it on my own. So I am definitely interested if you have some fun ways to cook it that you think they might enjoy as well. That way I've got more cabbage help here. All right, I've got my second half here. It's going to cook down, so you don't have to cut it super small. It's just a little bit easier to eat if it's not huge chunks of cabbage in there. We'll go ahead and get this cut. It's going to look like a lot in the pan to get started, but it will cook down as it goes, so it's all right if it's mounding over just a smidge. We're gonna serve this with some ribs tonight. It should be pretty tasty. This one's not cooperating. I don't bother coring my cabbage. The core doesn't bother me, and again, it's gonna cook down pretty good in here. If you want to take the core out, you of course are more than welcome to. Alright, so we'll get this in there. I'll switch over to a bowl so we can make the cheese sauce to put in there, and I'll be back in just a second. Alright, so I've got 2 cans of cream of chicken soup in here. I'm going to add 1.5 cups of milk. One cup of sour cream. Add a half a teaspoon of salt. And a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. All right, we'll go ahead and get this mixed up a little bit. Okay, and then if you're gonna have cheesy cabbage casserole, you need to have some cheese, of course. So I'm going to add 3 cups of cheddar, just shredded cheddar. You can use Kojak or whatever you like. We happen to be cheddar fans, so we'll get some cheese in here. And then we're going to pour this over our cabbage and onions. I always panic a little bit when I pour it over. It never looks like enough to me, but as the cabbage cooks down and the cheese mixture here kind of melts in, it all kind of works out in the end. So cabbage here. All right, and again, it kind of looks like this is overflowing, which it is definitely mounded up in the center and a little overfull, but it will cook down quite a bit. All that airspace between the cabbage will go away here in a little bit. So I'm gonna bake this at 350 for about 25 minutes or so, and then we'll take it out and put a cornflake crumb topping on top, because of course you need that if you're gonna have a casserole. It's part of the comfort food, the crunchy, buttery topping to go with the cheesy inside. So we'll get this started and we'll come back and put the cornflakes on in about 25 minutes. Time to put the cornflakes on top. This is a half a cup of butter mixed with about 2 cups of cornflake crumbs. I don't get real particular with the cornflake crumbs when I am making them for a casserole. So basically all I do is take a handful of cornflakes, give them a nice good crunch, and stick them in there. So you're just gonna toss that real quick to get them coated in butter. That's gonna make them nice and crunchy and delicious. And then we'll just sprinkle that over the top of this. We're gonna put it back in the oven for another half hour after this. Again, this seems a little bit worrisome. It looks like the cheese sauce is all still kind of floating on top and it hasn't shrunk much, but it's not even quite halfway through and getting cooked. So be patient with it, it'll get there. All right, there we go, fresh from the oven. As you can tell, the cheese sauce is nice and bubbly. Everything's looking delicious. As with any kind of creamy, cheesy casserole like this, you want to let it sit for 10 to 15 minutes and cool down. It'll help bring it together a little bit. The sauce will thicken. If you try to serve it right now, it'll taste good, but it'll be a little bit soupy. So we'll just give it a few minutes and we'll see what it looks like. Are we ready to see what it looks like in here? Look at that cheesy goodness. Like I said, it seems like when you're putting it together that it's not going to be enough sauce, but as you can tell, there's plenty in there. So there you go, cheesy cabbage casserole. I hope you give it a try. It's great with barbecue, it's great with ham, it's great with just about anything.